Do you think it's okay if you go to a workout class and the music choice they make is Christmas music right now?
No, I'm pretty particular on my workout music. Like, if it doesn't get me moving, like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I in the class? Why do you even have music? You might as well put on a podcast if the music isn't making me go. Like, I didn't
want to say anything, but I was sitting there doing my weightlifting.
What are they, like
thinking,
Michael Bublé you while you're in there?
What? It was Michael Bublé. And
the
I'm like,
Boobs was playing? Welcome to Scoop City on a Wednesday. I'm James Palmer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do it. We love you for it. We have a lot to get to. Dianna, Russini, and I, the Athletic Senior NFL Insider, we're breaking it all down for you with a special guest, Michael-Shawn Dugar, covering those Seattle Seahawks, the biggest game on a Thursday night we've ever seen. We're going to get to Sam Darnold and what he means to that game and what he means to Seattle's future moving forward in the postseason. We also have Tua Tagovailoa has been benched. What does that mean for him, Mike McDaniel, and the Dolphins, as well as are the Jaguars being disrespected? We know they like it, but maybe it shouldn't be appropriate to disrespect them, Dianna. We have a lot going on, specifically the news this morning. I bet you already kind of knew, Di, that the things were in the works. Once you hear a coach say everything's on the table when he's asked about his quarterback's future, what usually happens?
It's code. It's code for I can't tell you right now, but I can't deal with this anymore. That's what that's code for. The other is, well, the way they get out of it sometimes is, well, I got to go watch the tape. You don't need to watch the tape. You saw it with your own eyes. These coaches are incredible at seeing things.
Watched it on the plane back. Like,
oh yeah, you get that too. Doesn't take much.
There, yeah.
I know coaches that don't do that at all. So you're giving a little too much credit out there.
Well, yeah. Well,
that's a great story to dive into. What coaches do on those flights, because they all have like a different style of how they do it. But the news obviously today being Tua getting benched. Okay, so what does this mean, right? When you hear that the Miami Dolphins have made this decision, and obviously this came from the head coach to sit him. My first thought was, well, this is probably it for Tua in Miami, because how do you come back from this?
I don't know.
How do you move forward with going, okay, you know what? We actually made a mistake. Usually, once a player who's been in the league for 6 years gets benched, that organization is looking to move in a new direction. But there's so many tentacles to this one, right, James? Because they don't have a general manager. We don't know the future of Mike McDaniel. We're not sure if they're going to keep him or not. I can tell you from just having conversations around the league, most believe he'll return next year. Right? Which was not the case 2 months ago, by the way.
No.
2 months ago.
He's been on a little run here.
He's done a really good job of improving this team, almost kind of quietly. So I have some questions and I have some answers, but I want to ask you first in terms of how do you think this can go, knowing that, all right, the guy that they invested this much money in is now not going to be their starting quarterback here moving forward this season.
Yeah, a few layers to that. One, we'll get to the financials, but two, in the more kind of what has gone on recently. I got a text from an offensive coordinator while that game was going on Monday night, was like, this is a really tough watch. Like, this is a really tough watch. And that's kind of what my understanding of Mike and everybody kind of saw is where this has gone. It's been a wild year, Dianna. If you think about it, remember like the revealing of secrets in a sense that happened during the season with the players only meeting, and what has gone on kind of at the podium, what's gone on behind the scenes. He's turned the football over, I think, more interceptions than anybody else in the league. But what everybody was kind of thinking mid-season was, well, maybe Mike stays because he gets a lot out of Tua. I've always heard that he gets more out of Tua than maybe most people assume anybody can. This offense is designed specifically for him. It literally goes in reverse because he's left-handed. A lot of the progressions go for a left-handed quarterback because of Tua. It's all designed for him, and Mike gets a lot out of him. And the financial aspect is such a huge part of it. He's guaranteed $54 million in 2026. So the assumption a few months ago was, well, he's on the team no matter what. If Mike's gone, he's going to be on the team. What does that new head coach do? Now that he's been benched, I think that whole perception has changed. But I know you were talking to people and texting people this morning. Tell me if this is similar. I had two different people hit me up going, there's no way they can coexist next season. There's no way you bring Mike back, which we're hearing is more likely than not, and Tua back. But how do you operate with $99 million in dead cap, which would be an NFL record compared to what Denver used to have as the record with $85 million for Russell Wilson?
The difference there, though, well, there's a lot of differences, but
let's talk about
it. I do like that example because I don't think the Denver Broncos get enough credit for figuring out a way around all that. Mm-hmm. They've essentially been operating with a hand tied behind their back, and yet they're at the top of the AFC, right? And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that they nailed the quarterback position, right? Yep. They moved on from Russ because they had the replacement ready to go here in a very quick amount of time. Miami is now going to be in a position where if they move on from Tua, they're also in a very poor financial situation. They don't have a GM in place yet. And when you look at this upcoming draft class, having a conversation with the general manager, just getting an idea of what it looks like in terms of what they're seeing as they're all studying these players now. This isn't a very deep quarterback class. No. This isn't a quarterback class that we saw that Bo Nix was part of, where Denver was able to get him. So I think this is going to be an offseason where we're going to see a lot of teams signing, trading veteran quarterbacks rather than digging into the draft, believing that, that their guy is there. There's no reason to fake it just to go get a quarterback because you need one. So
could that keep Tua in Miami then?
You bring up the Broncos situation, and it makes me just wonder, will they actually just be stuck? Because what's the better option? It's almost like he may be there by default. Because what are they going to do? Where are they going to go find someone? Now, look, I know there's tons of confidence, and even around the league, that they have a head coach who could probably work with a lot of different quarterbacks, right? So that they have that. There's like a good check for the Miami Dolphins. That's, of course, if Mike keeps his job. There's a lot of uncertainty there. I'd be curious, and it's something worth digging on, how the owner feels about Tua, right? That's always a gigantic factor in all of these. And I've never gotten the impression that Stephen Ross is a type of owner that is just going to sit back and let everybody make these calls. He's going to have a strong opinion about what he's doing because it's his money. Yeah. So, look, I do think the way this Miami Dolphins team finishes out the season is it's going to be huge for the future of both these guys.
And I throw a third person in there. It's important for the future of Quinn Ewers, who is going to be the starter. You mentioned a young quarterback in Bo Nix coming in and being a big part of that equation in Denver. I would also say I think George Paton did a very good job of putting that roster in place, a good roster without bad contracts. They didn't overpay their left tackle, their top receiver, or really their pass rushers or anybody in that sense. So they were in a very good spot financially to deal with the dead money, and the drafting well plays a part in that. I'm not sure if Miami's exactly there in this soft rebuild they're having, but maybe Quinn Ewers is the answer. Maybe he tears it up down the stretch here and he is their guy next year at the quarterback position when you say, and I think you're exactly right, with limited answers. I talked to somebody this morning that worked with Quinn in the draft process, and they just reminded me saying, hey, let's just remember the abductoral injury, whatever it was he was dealing with last year, and the high ankle sprain really, really impacted his arm strength, his accuracy, and his mechanics. He has been much different as he's been at practice in Miami, and my understanding is that's a little bit of a different story than what Miami's seen. So he is their starter, and we'll see what happens with Quinn Ewers. But this is something we are not done talking about by any stretch. There is a lot.
How about Zach Wilson getting paid all that money, and he's not even getting a shot? Like, what happened?
Denver, and everybody was excited. Yeah, everybody in Denver was stoked. He got a year of like a Sean Payton correctional quarterback school. And it didn't happen. Okay, we have a little game to play here, Dianna, as we move on. I'm going to bring up different... We play great games on Wednesdays, by the way. This is called Clear as Ice or Just a Holiday Hype. Okay? These are going to be cat topics that have been given to us, and I will give each one of them, and we will go through these right down the line about where we feel on each one of these. And I'm not going to lie, they are toughies. Real toughies. Okay?
All right.
First one. At least one more head coach will be fired before the end of the season.
Sal, I do think this head coaching cycle has been a little weird because I feel like we've had a few coaches' names that we thought were going to get fired in season, then all of a sudden they're still there.
Yep.
Most owners don't want to do it in season. Most. We've seen it happen. Obviously, the Jets had no problem doing it to Robert Saleh 5 weeks in. The Tennessee Titans did it.
I always thought Stephen Ross was part of that group that didn't want to do it during.
What do you think you're getting out of that, though? Like that is, and I've asked people that are part of the hiring processes, and they always give you the same like theories, like, well, you can get organized and figure out where you want to go, who you want to meet with. And look, teams are doing that. Like I can tell you the Titans they have a list, the Giants, they have a list, but unless you're going after a college coach, who you're allowed to go talk to and they could technically hire, if they were able to check all the boxes. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. So for me, look, there's a lot of jobs here that I think have a lot of, we'll call it like question marks that people around the league are talking about. I get asked about Arizona all the time, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Cleveland. These are names that people around the league are all watching, thinking, I don't know, not sure they're safe. And we'll see how it pans out. But I would say those are the big ones. It's funny because I know you and I report that Miami has felt good about their head coach. There are more people around the league who think that that's not going to go that way, which is interesting, right? Yeah. Like I think a lot of we're reporting that he's going to be safe, but there's people that don't necessarily buy that.
I think that's a really good point, and that's also ties into this where I don't think another coach is going to be, and it's just opinion. Anything can happen, and that's why these last several weeks are so vital. I don't think any decisions have been made in a lot of the buildings you mentioned, and I'm hearing the same buildings, and I think what happens down the stretch is more valuable than what people at home think. And how
anything could happen.
What happened last Thursday in Atlanta, Dianna, with Raheem Morris and the Falcons? Like that was a big deal. They came out ready to play in that game. That was a big, big deal. And the other part I would say to answer your question is I've sometimes heard there's somebody on the staff we want to take a look at. If you have a candidate that's on your staff, an in-season firing sometimes makes sense because you get a chance to look at said person, i.e. Mike Kafka. Not sure it's going great, but sometimes you get a chance to look
James,
at
I feel like we could use the Giants as the best example of why sometimes when the answer's right in front of you, you should probably just do it. Ownership was going back and forth on what they wanted to do last year with Brian Daboll. And they made that decision painfully, it seemed, to keep him. And then it just didn't work out. Yeah. Everyone was, they were a little too late on it. The Jets did it with Saleh. They considered it. Then they waited. They brought him back. They wound up firing. And it puts the head coach in such a bad position because your butt's under fire every game, every single game.
It's very similar to what we said about the quarterback spot in the beginning. When the coach wavers at the starting quarterback, usually should mean a change. Maybe owners should do the same thing. Once they start wavering, maybe they should just make the change. Okay, Bears fans should be happier about their season so far compared to Patriots fans.
I'm buying that. And I'm
buying
I
like it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm buying this because, look, both Caleb and Drake have taken pretty tremendous leaps here. But I do think the Patriots' schedule knocks a couple points off for me because they haven't been as challenged by the opponent. I don't actually believe the roster in New England is that great. I think they've done a really nice job. Vrabel's done a good job of kind of building this identity of this team and kind of piecemealing some of this to make it work. But I think the fact that Ben Johnson came in here, established it, and did the most important thing and that's establish the run game. Yes, it is so clear. Like the Patriots, like the run game I saw the Patriots have against the Bills was like the first time I felt like all year. I was like, oh, there we go.
There we go.
Obviously they've done it before, but whereas Chicago, that's who they are, right? Like instead of thinking that Ben Johnson was coming in here to improve the passing game, which he has, he was like, no. I'm going to make sure we've got a good offensive line, a good run game, and also work with Caleb. And the fact that he's been able to tap into Caleb's skill set while also having him do the things that Johnson requires for his offense, to me, and P.S., look who they're playing, right? They're facing the Green Bay Packers twice this season. That's not easy. So I'm more excited for the Chicago Bears fan base in terms of the optimism and the excitement that they should have, especially when they're talking about it on Christmas Day. I don't think the Patriots are far behind in that enthusiasm, but I would rather be a Bears fan right now.
Okay, I love it. You also got that tremendous accent if you're a Bears fan. At first, I was going to say Patriots.
Can't do that one.
And I was going to say, like, well, look at Drake May. It's just the writings on the wall. This guy's a legitimate MVP candidate. This is through the roof. You're right. Mike Vrabel's dealing with far less as a roster. You look at the skill group that Drake May worked with this year compared to all these veterans and DJ Moore and Cole Kmet and DeAndre Swift. And you have Roma Dunze and the list goes on. Luther Burden and Colston Loveland. Like, I'm like, oh man, well, like Drake's working with less and he's playing outstanding. That offensive line got revamped. It's a better roster in Chicago that Caleb's working with Ben Johnson. And the Bears could go, am I happy? Like you could clinch a playoff spot against the Packers this weekend, or you could find yourself out of the postseason very realistically by the way things go down the stretch. But then I just said, it's got to be the Bears. Because like New England, and Jeremy, I hope you're listening to this, they've had so much for so long. Oh no, we had 4 years where we were down. Like Bears fans have been waiting forever. They have to be ecstatic right now about what's going on with Ben Johnson.
I love that you're punishing the Patriots fans for having some glory.
No, I'm just thinking about like what makes you happiest when you haven't experienced anything for like, I don't know, your lifetime, which is the vast majority of younger Bears fans. I would assume you would be through the roof with what's going on right now.
You know how it goes, though, with football fans, especially you being from Philadelphia.
Fact.
It's almost like Men in Black with the wand when you forget everything. It's like after a Super Bowl, every fan from cities like Philly and Boston get whacked in the head with that wand, and it's like it never happened.
That's a really good point. These rabbits are getting hung all over Philadelphia right now. The Jaguars are the least talked about 10-win team that we've ever had. I'm
buying that.
I am too.
They're beating opponents by an average of 20 points per game over the last month. Nobody cares.
Nobody.
Nobody's paying attention to it. Trevor Lawrence is playing better. He's being more consistent. All we've talked about is he's the number one overall pick. He's not even good. Guess who's good now? Trevor Lawrence. And we're not. Now, look, you and I have had many conversations about this online and offline about is he actually great?
Yeah,
I think we're still trying to find that out. But the fact that Liam Cohen has been able to almost smudge some of this in making us believe that because they're winning games. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters. They're winning a lot of games and they're trouncing people. You're right. I put a tweet out that said, I don't know if anybody cares, but the Jaguars, since their week 8 bye, have been averaging 32 points a game and they have a franchise record 7 straight of 25 or more. The first 4 comments were, nobody cares about the Jags.
I just love that you tweeted it from that vein of like,
yeah. I was like, I don't know if anybody knows
I don't know
this.
if you care. Not sure what the vibes are out there, and everyone's like, shut up.
Yeah, everyone's like, relax, bro. And I'm like, okay, but listen, you're right. I think what Liam Cohen also is doing with Trevor Lawrence, the confidence that he's instilled in him, what they're doing, offensively now, they've run the ball really, really well. Jacoby Myers has changed that offense. Brian Thomas Jr. not dropping the ball as much as they were. They lead the NFL in drops, and a lot of that, people think is probably Trevor Lawrence's fault. I think we are both spot on that one. The Ravens and the Lions both make the postseason.
Ooh, I'm buying that.
Okay.
I'm buying it.
I like it.
Look, I think both teams know, I know they haven't had the most success over the last few weeks, specifically Detroit. Baltimore scares me. Like, you don't think New England is afraid of Baltimore right now? And that run game?
What if Lamar just gets back to being Lamar?
Yeah, and I do think statistically, Baltimore's offense against a Mike Vrabel defense favors to Baltimore almost every time.
Yeah, and they could play each other in the postseason, by the way. That could very realistically happen.
For sure. Yeah, we could see this again.
Yeah,
it's at Gillette, so that'll... No, I'm sorry. It's in Baltimore. It's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then for the Lions, I still think the Lions are really good.
It's the best offense in football. Points per game.
Yes.
I mean...
Look, the problem with the Lions that worries me, if you were to say, okay, you're scared, I'm scared a little bit about the injuries, right? They've had a slew of them.
Yeah.
And they still need to figure out, it's almost like they're missing one more piece. And I hate to say that when it's end of December, because how the heck are they going to figure that out?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't know. I think this could be the year that we see Jared Goff carry this team.
I think he might have to with the way
Yeah, he does. You're right. He has no choice.
If they win out, they have a 53% chance due to our simulator of making the postseason.
I feel like you were selling on that, though. Were you selling?
No, I think the Lions have a greater chance of making it than the Ravens, actually. Just because I'm just seeing the stretch from Lamar going, like, is it going to happen? I mean, I expect it to, but is it going to happen? And we'll see, but I don't know. Okay, last one. The Super Bowl winner will come out of the NFC, Dianna Russini.
Selling. I'm just having a hard time with it. Look, the AFC, especially if you're the Bills, this thing is wide open, right?
Mm-hmm. Wide open.
There still isn't a team in the NFC, sorry, Philly, that scares me. None of them have it.
The Rams?
None of it have it. Okay, maybe the Rams. Shoot. You just poked a hole in my argument.
No, that's why. We talk this out before we make our final call. So,
you buying or selling?
I think it is the NFC. Because what quarterbacks do I trust the most?
Yep.
I probably trust Matthew Stafford the most.
Oh.
Even though Philly has had a ton of issues, that's a Super Bowl winning quarterback that has played great in a lot of big games. I'm just thinking of like, if the holes with Josh Allen and the Bills are too much to overcome, which quarterback out of the AFC are you going, he's winning the Super Bowl?
No.
You just don't, you don't have enough of a sample size to know.
If it was indoors, I'd be like,
oh yeah,
NFC, it's going to be the Rams.
It's outdoors. This game. I completely forgot.
Huh? That's a big storyline here for the Rams. They want to be indoors. They want that perfect environment. I heard Tom Brady on the broadcast discussing it, and he explained it so well. Like, everything is so controlled indoors. You don't worry about anything.
Perfect.
It's completely in your own hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see someone like Josh Allen and the Bills. That, I mean, look at they playing. Look what they did on Sunday and how they're able to rally and the momentum that they probably took from that. I just outside of the Rams, I just don't trust anyone in the NFC.
That's a really good
okay.
point.
How about this? What about the Texans in the AFC? Where do you think they are going to go here?
I don't think that's the defense nobody wants to play right now. And if CJ Stroud plays the way he played this last week, which when I talk to people there, it feels like they're like, we feel like we're growing as an offense. We feel like we're getting there. CJ's making really good decisions with the football. If he doesn't turn it over and if he can, he's a playmaker on a lot of these third and longs, like at the offensive line, it's a big what if, can come together and Nick Caley can find a way to really kind of find a rhythm with this offense. Like, they can go on a run. They certainly could go on a run because I don't know a better secondary. And I think they're in the argument as the best front with, say, the Rams and Denver. But who's scoring on them? Like,
look, if what you're hearing out of there is that it's stock is up there, right? And it's coming together. So much of this is timing. And if they're gelling right now, watch out. Watch out. Okay.
Love it. All right. Coming up on Scoop City on a Wednesday, we have Michael-Shawn Dugar joining us to break down that massive Thursday night game between the Seahawks and the Rams. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Scoop City on a Wednesday. James Palmer, Dianna Russini with you, and we have one of the best in the business. Michael-Shawn Dugar joins us, covers these Seahawks better than anybody, and this is a massive one, everybody. We have not had a Thursday night game with both teams with 11 wins or more ever. This might be the biggest Thursday night game of all time. Take me into that stadium real quick, Michael. Like, what's your favorite thing about Lumen Field? Like, what do you expect on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like to do when I'm from here, so I have sometimes friends who go to the night games and tailgate. Like, Mike, hey, come through. And when I do that, I have to walk through like the crowd to get to the stadium instead of like just going up to the parking garage and just kind of having like a VIP entrance. I did that for the Texans game in week 7, which was also the same day the Mariners were playing in game 7 of the ALCS at the same time. Right. So the city, I was actually in a bar watching like to like the 6th inning or something like that before wading through the crowd to go. And like when the Seahawks have a big game like that, and I do choose to go through like where the Blue Thunder band plays and where you see the big portraits of the star players on the side of the event center, which is adjacent to Lumen Field, like you just feel anticipation, really. It was I feel like this game is going to be very similar in that regard to 2019, week 17, when they played the 49ers. Marshawn Lynch was coming back because all their running backs' knees basically were blown out in the last few weeks. And the 1 seed was on the line. Loser get the 5 seed. Richard Sherman was on the Niners, which was a big deal. You know, you could just feel that build all week, that day, that night. It was the last game of the regular season, the Sunday Night Football finale. I feel like Thursday is going to be that. It kicks off the week, and it's not the last game of the year, but the stakes are the same. The two teams don't like each other. It's a rematch, just like that 2019 game was with the Niners. In 2019, the Seahawks won in Santa Clara on a game-winning field goal in overtime. I think the Niners were undefeated at the time. The Rams won the first one down that came down to a missed field goal. You know, it's just, I see a lot of parallels, and that night was buzzing, particularly with Marshawn's return. So I feel like Thursday is going to be very similar.
I'm jacked.
Mike, I admit this, and I probably should be a little embarrassed. I've spent many of times at Sluggers, hanging out with the fans, watching games. James, so Sluggers is like, it's kind of a spot. It's this right? To watch games. It's just fans, and you're just drinking all hours of the day.
Because you walk to that stadium as opposed to so many others that
exactly.
you cover.
It's such a great
setup. Yeah,
exactly. Before we keep digging on Thursday, because I want to get there real quick. The Phillip Rivers experience, from what you saw, and just kind of what that reaction was. The signage was incredible of what the fans were holding up. What give me kind of vibes there from that game?
Yeah, there's like an earned arrogance from Seahawks fans now when it comes to certain quarterbacks, right? Because of these beatdowns they've been laying on people. You know, the last time the Seahawks had watched an opponent at home prior to the Phillip Rivers experience was Max Brosmer scoring nothing, right? And throwing maybe the worst pass of the NFL season over his head. They got picked 6. So they came in here with the expectations like, okay, we don't care if it's a young buck like Max making his first start or a grandpa like Phillip making 887th start or whatever it probably was. Like the expectation was beat him down, and the signage reflected that. The energy reflected that. They expected a beat down. I think the players took it a little bit more seriously. They're like, hey, let's see how far he can throw first before we decide whether we treat him like a grandpa. After like a few series, they realize, oh, not that far. Yeah. Now we can go, bring the heat to him. But it was weird watching Phillip be so old. It looks so old out there. CBS had a photo of him like going through the pregame warmup, and I was like, that looks like the QB coach. That doesn't look like the actual QB.
Like and then the other guy that stands back there and they alternate passes.
Yeah. Then he had his moment where he slipped at midfield. You know, that was the only sack of the game where he just lost his footing. And I was like, yeah, it's very relatable content from the 44-year-old right there. Just lost his balance under pressure. I could relate there.
Oh, that's so good. Speaking of this quarterback position, there's so many eyeballs on Seattle's quarterback and Sam Darnold, specifically in nationally televised big moments. We all know, Mike, what the perception is nationally. Could you kind of tell us what it's like there, what you've kind of taken from in the locker room with Sam, and is that accurate or is that inaccurate in terms of how he performs in these situations, in your mind, in the way he's wired?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of wishful thinking and optimism on the part of the players and coaches, right? They're like, we know we're going to get the best of Sam because we see it every day. And that makes sense. It skews their perception. Whereas the rest of us, even someone like me who's here every day, was like, well, all we have is Sundays. All we have are these Thursday games. All we have are these Monday games. And it's uneven. You know, it's not the guy that they see who's probably lighting them up in practice and probably killing it and hitting Rashid Shaheed on deep bombs in practice and hitting Cooper Kupp on option routes. We're not seeing that on Sundays. We're seeing the ball go to number 11 or it doesn't go anywhere at all for the most part, and they sputter. But what you see is guys who I think, as much as they want to tell us, we don't listen to the outside noise, we're focused on what's in the building, that's BS. You know, listen to Ernest Jones after they lost to the Rams, who unprompted just gave us this profanity-laced endorsement of his quarterback. Ernest is smart. He knows it's not that we were in there just cooking Sam to him and he needed to come to his defense. Ernest knew what was coming. Ernest is smart. He knew, hey, they're about to smoke our guy because he threw 4 picks in a quote unquote big game. So let me get in front of that and let you guys know I have his back. And that's kind of the theme of the season right now. Everyone watched those games last year, the Week 18 game with the Vikings and Lions, and they watched the wild card round where Sam didn't play well. They're aware of perception, even if they're not listening to it directly. And what you're seeing is guys rallying around him each week, telling us like almost going the extra mile, telling us Sam's the best in the world. I have multiple on the record quotes saying he should win MVP. None of these things are true, but they want it to be true. They're trying to have Sam's back. And I can respect it, even if I disagree, because they're his teammates. They're supposed to believe that he can take them to the promised land.
Mike, I was one of those people that was calling for Sam Darnold. Just so you know, I was on an island. James is like, do you want to re-record that? Because that's probably going to go like, sure. Yeah, did you confuse yourself with Drake May or someone or Matthew Stafford? I'm like, nope, I'm sticking with Sammy.
He was killing it for a little bit there.
He was. I fell a little too hard there. And look, we saw some of those clips of when he was with Minnesota, the way the team rallied around him. And I covered Sam a lot closer to where I am in New York when he was with the Jets, and he was young there, though. I physically could see a change in him, but also just the way his just overall presence on a team just has really matured. And even talking to people in Minnesota about the way he can command a room, despite the fact he's not like the loudest guy. He's not this like outrageously energetic human. And I know you just wrote about the Seahawks offense being in a little bit of this funk, but Sam Darnold, from your observations, being around him, things that he hasn't even said to you, things that you've seen, how would you describe Sam?
Yeah, I think Sam he has learned a lot from his experience in New York and being a young quarterback. I think he was drafted at like 20 or something like that, and it's interesting hearing from, he's here with the Uchenna Nwosu, USC guy, Leonard Williams, who played with Sam, as a rookie. So, and Uchenna and him were the teammates at USC, Uchenna and Sam. So like you got these perspectives that go all the way back to when Sam, Uchenna told me one time, he was like, I've known Sam since we were teenagers. So I believe in him. And I was like, wow, he's right. They're both, I think, 18 at USC, both Cali guys as well. Chenna's from LA. So, Sam, he was bad in New York. And I think what a lot of backups learn, and I learned this from covering Geno, is like when you have turnovers and interceptions, which Geno, I think, threw a bunch, in New York as well. What you do is try to correct. Like, all right, because you associate turnovers with unemployment. If I turn the ball over, I lose my job. It's generally how the NFL works. And these guys learn that firsthand. So how do you correct that? All right, you find ways, you talk to yourself, listen to my feet. All the quarterbacks wear shirts that say, listen to your feet. All right, they say your feet will lead you the way. And Geno's thing was just like, protect the ball, protect the ball, protect the ball. That's why he beat Drew Lock out. Geno did for the starting quarterback job in 2022 without throwing a touchdown pass in any of his preseason games. But you know what Drew did? Turn it over. Multiple times. So Pete went with Geno, so I think Sam is doing the same thing. He's like, I just need to just play clean. And sometimes that's to a fault, right? Look at the Rams game. He was trying so hard not to take a sack against a team that sacked him 9 times last time. Well, then he threw 4 picks. It's like he tried to fix one problem by creating another. And I think that's what he's doing now after throwing those 4 picks. It's like, okay, get the ball to Jax, go 1 to 2 in my reads, or that's it. Throw it in the dirt. Watch how many times he throws it at someone's feet, right? He gives up on the play pretty early, because he's trying to live to fight another down. And you see some quarterbacks don't do that. You see young ones in particular who have all this athleticism and these strong arms. Think of last year's Caleb Williams. Or like, I can extend that play. Well, no, Caleb, you took 60-something sacks last year. You can't. Sam's not trying to be that because he was that. He's already been Caleb. And sometimes that works. It got Dianna believing he could be MVP. Yeah. But sometimes you see what has happened, like the last game where they couldn't score a touchdown on a defense that didn't have Buckner, Sauce, or Charvarius Ward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 68 is burned into my brain, by the way. It's really
a lot of sacks. That's coming from someone who covered Russ, by the way, who's like, damn, that's a lot of sacks.
That's a lot
Caleb.
of sacks. I mean, Russ can take them. And so
68 is in your head, but not 6'7".
Come on, Dianna.
Sorry. I haven't done it in a while.
That was a layup.
Yeah, that was a layup. I appreciate it. With your focus this week, looking at the offense, I want to get to this first before I have some other stuff on the Rams, Mike. But like Shaheed, all we heard at the deadline was he played in the offense before. He knows Clint. He knows. What have you seen since he's gotten there, though? Because everything is always different. It's never the same. And what have you seen from his development or his growth or his fit? In terms of, it's also a different quarterback. That's a big part of it. So what have you seen his role in the offense? Are we seeing it the last couple of weeks start to find its way?
Yeah, it's really just time on task. I never really bought that the being in the scheme would help him hit the ground running. I think quarterback familiarity is more important.
Big time.
For comparison, I thought Tyler Lockett would hit the ground running with Geno much faster than Shaheed would with Kubiak, right? It's the guy who throws the ball that you need to be on time with. You can know that you have a dig route on any given play because, hey, we call dig routes this in New Orleans. Okay, but when does Sam like you to take the cut on the dig? Is it 12 Is it 12 yards? Is it 15 yards? Does he like you to tempo that route? He wants you to go full speed. Shahid's fast as hell, right? So all that stuff, you have to work out those kinks more than just knowing that when they say banana, it means this, that learning the language is just part of it. And I think that's what we're seeing now from Shaheed. His first 4 games with the Seahawks, he only had 4 catches for 37 yards. That was it. He actually had more rushing attempts than receptions in that first month. These last 2 games, he has 9 catches for 141 yards. And Sam went to him twice on the game-winning drive against the Colts. Like, that's the growth. That's the time on task. That's how it shows up. I think it took some time, and it was very fascinating because relative to some other guys who got traded, he was behind the 8 ball. Look what Jacoby Myers and Trevor did right out the gate. Even Adonai Mitchell and John Mechie were putting up better numbers with their new teams than Shaheed was for those first 4 weeks. Without having a rapport with the scheme of the other quarterbacks in those instances. But I think it just takes time. Sam likes to do things a certain way. Shaheed's much faster than all of the other receivers, so the timing is different, but it's coming together now, and I think that's massive because teams have really sold out to stop Jackson Smith and Jigba. They don't want to be the team that gets beat for 150. So the Seahawks counterpunch to that has to be throwing it to Rashid Shaheed.
Yeah. I feel like we spent so much time talking about just this vibe out there in Seattle anyways, and just kind of what the culture is when they're at home. But the reality is they're so good on the road. Yeah. What do they say? Like they're literally 13-2 since Mike McDaniel's been head coach with a career road record. What is it? What do they say about this?
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's one of the few things that Mike McDaniel carried over from the Pete Carroll regime. Pete used to start when they left the time zone. That was generally the rule. They would leave a day early. So they leave on Friday afternoonish when they were going east, or even like somewhere like Central Time, like Dallas or something. And what Pete found was it helped with the body clock, which is important because it feels like a 10 a.m. start for Seattle if they only left on Saturday. So A was help with the body clock, and B, there was just more time. It was only them. Like, yeah, some guys got like family if they're nearby. They play in Atlanta. Everybody's from the South, so they got cousins and high school teammates pulling up to the hotel and stuff. But outside of maybe the Atlanta trip or going to Florida, it's just the Seahawks. It's just them in the hotel. They're all watching their college teams. They're playing video games in their hotel room. They're eating breakfast together. They're watching film. They're whatever. And that time together, it just builds this us against the world kind of attitude. Players love that manufactured chip on the shoulder thing. And it just builds if you just spend 48 hours together in Green Bay or, 48 hours together in Pittsburgh or New York. They played New York the last few years. They just build up this all we got. You can see they've adopted like mob ties as their mantra. They got almost the New Jack City Nino Brown, like CMB, we all we got attitude going. And they build that on the road, though. They build that on the road when they really feel like it's just us. We're the only ones wearing blue. All these other stadiums are decked out with fans in these other colors, yellow or whatever. And that builds this togetherness that these guys have identified as the secret sauce. It's like, it's just us. The guys on the team have talked about Seattle feeling like it's on the other side of the world. Ernest Jones was like, yeah, there's nothing to do here. So all we can do is focus on football. Mind you, Ernest is from a small town in Georgia. I'm like,
that's what Sam. By the way, he's wrong. There is actually so much to do. And you know this, like you are from there. Like you, and I know you have pride about it. So, but I think I get some of that, but at the same time, like most of these guys don't want to be doing much anyway. I think Joe Burrow was asked last week about his birthday. He's like, I just want to eat and go to bed early. Like that's how most guys are operating like anyway, Joe. that are locked in general, Yeah,
sounds like Joe. It reminds me also though, in the team that Seattle's playing, Mike, and that's the Rams when they were in Baltimore and they had all that time where they stayed there. I think before London, they just went over all these different things they wanted to do with this offense. That's kind of where Sean McVay kind of came up with this. Puka was hurt. How do we go multiple tight ends, go 13 and kind of change what they do as an offense? They can beat you so many different ways in how they play this game. What are you looking at from a Seattle perspective that would concern you the most about the way that this offense plays? Both running backs have been utilized lately, all these different things that they do. What would you look to put your finger on with this Rams offense that would be the thing that you're focused with?
Yeah, the main focus for me is, can you get to Matthew Stafford? I'm not even sure they sacked him in the first meeting. He's generally good at getting the ball out. And if you need, I don't know where the official Scoop City opinion on this is, but to me, sacks are a quarterback stat. And look no further than Phillip Rivers coming off of his couch and not getting sacked.
This is a Sean Payton show, so I would say, yeah, we think the same thing. Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Phillip Rivers, 44 years old, coming off his couch, didn't get sacked against the team that's fourth in sack rate and fourth in sacks. How did he do that? Right? Because he was able to get the ball out, know the scheme, know the routes, know the checks, know the ins and outs of the system. And that's what Matthew Stafford is good at. And if you can't get to him, you guys have seen it. Like, Stafford's balling right now. Whether he's throwing to Colby Parkinson, who looks like Gronk all of a sudden, or Puka or Devontae, or whoever, Tutu, like, Stafford is on it. And if you don't get to him, it's over. The Seahawks have one of the best run defenses in the league. I think they're like second in points per drive on defense. Like, they're as good as it gets. But if you don't get to Stafford, it can be a long day whether he has Devontae Adams on Thursday or not. I'm old enough to remember just last year, he came in here with Puka and Cooper. Puka got ejected for throwing a punch in the first half of that game.
I was at that game.
Yeah, and Stafford still threw for 300 yards because all of a sudden DeMarcus Robinson morphed into Jerry Rice, right? And then caught the game winner in overtime, had 2 touchdowns on Reek Woolen in that game. So I'm very confident in just the quarterback and the system and McVay, whether they have Devontae or not, because they're just so good. I mean, fun fact, Stafford has never lost to the Seahawks as a Ram. You know, him and McVay, they don't lose. Whether it's home, road, doesn't matter. When they come up here, when it's down there, they don't. So I think that if the Seahawks want to win this game, I know they do because it's massive, they got to get to 9 in the pocket or it could be a long day.
Man, that throw, I was just thinking about it. The overtime throw to DeMarcus Robinson from Stafford was just
rolling left, throwing back right.
Throwing back.
Come on now.
That throw was unbelievable. Yeah, because Seattle gets a playoff spot if they do win this game. The Rams, if they win this game, cannot clinch the division. That still would be up for grabs. They'd have to lose their last 2, and Seattle wins their final 2 for that to change hands. Michael, before we go, because Dianna and I are going to talk about Christmas movies after this, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Uh-oh. Now I'm going to get embarrassed on the show.
You've never seen it?
You've never seen Die Hard?
I've never seen Die Hard.
No, it's okay.
I've never seen Die Hard.
We played a game last show where name a movie that
we did
that most people have seen that you haven't, and you're kind of embarrassed.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm embarrassed. I don't know if it's good, I guess. But yeah, it is one of those ones that people, I think Scarface is probably the other one, or people, because I'm a movie guy. I don't know if you guys know. I'll sit there and binge movies all the time. So when I tell people I haven't seen like Scarface or haven't seen Die Hard or I haven't seen any of the, like stuff like Terminator, I watched like Pulp Fiction and didn't like it, for the first time like a few years ago. So yeah, Die Hard I have not seen.
That's okay. My college roommate put up a Scarface poster up.
Yeah, you got to be on a plane for many hours.
Dude, Diana, my roommate put up a Scarface poster in his bedroom when we were in college. I go, man, I'm not a huge fan of Scarface. And he was like, I've never seen it. I just think this is the type of poster you put in your college room. I was like,
can I ask something? Why is there a debate about whether Die Hard is it take place on Christmas Day?
It takes place on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
all Christmas Eve night.
Eve.
Yeah, all Christmas Eve night.
But like in the shot, you can see Christmas trees. You can see
it's a Christmas
lights.
Party that gets crashed in an office Christmas party, essentially.
Yeah, it's got Christmas energy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite Christmas movie then is what, Mike?
This is also going to sound weird. I like really bad Christmas movies. Not that I can name one per se, though. I just watched a really bad one with like Christina Milian, I think the other day on Netflix.
You like Lifetime bad.
Yeah. It was Yeah. It was called Meet Me Next Christmas. I just like I really like cheesy rom-com Christmas movies like that. And this movie was not good, this Christina Milian one, but I watched it. I fell asleep on it and then watched it, made sure I finished it, at like 2 a.m. after my wife fell asleep on the couch. Like that's my thing for holiday movies. I'm not looking for like the best story or just the cheesy. Give me the cheesy, the bad
works
Christmas
during the holidays,
movie.
though.
And
it works.
It does.
It works during the holidays.
Well, there's so many of them. You go to Netflix right now. There's tons.
Did you watch that Kelly one, the champagne one on Netflix?
I watched that one.
Oh, I have. Is it good? Is it good?
It's real bad. It takes place in Paris.
So bad.
There we go.
Good.
Yeah,
You're
bad
in.
good. Bad good. Love it. Ike, you're the best. Enjoy Thursday night. We're all envious that you get to be there and we aren't.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Take it easy. I could talk to Michael all day long about football. All right, Dianna and I are sticking around, though. He's gone. He already told you about his movies. We're going to talk deeper, go more in depth about our favorite Christmas movies and when we watch them. Coming up next on Scoop City on a Wednesday. So let's close things out here on Scoop City on a Wednesday. James Palmer, Dianna Russini with you, and it's the holiday season, Dianna. It's December. We've always talked about Christmas lights. We've talked about what you're doing decorating, what we're doing with holiday cards. My house always has Christmas movies on, just in the background, like pretty regularly. Michael was just talking about it. He likes a good cheesy rom-com. To me, that'd be Four Christmases, which is high on my list, with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. Adore that movie. What are we watching in the Russini household outside of Home Alone? I'll just say it because that's a prereq for both of us.
We just love it so much. I tiptoe into the holiday season. I'm not one of those like the day after Thanksgiving running around singing jingle bells and putting Christmas tree scented candles all over the house. Like I wait. I kind of just slowly attack it.
Okay.
So I will say, to be fair, and I know you just told me I'm not allowed to do it, Home Alone is the first one I will watch.
I say you weren't allowed to do it, but yeah.
Because it gets me in the, obviously the church scene. I'm like, oh, like all of it. And then I'm like, oh, I think I like Christmas music now. Oh, I think I want to do it. We will put Elf on because
How do you not?
it's just, you're going to laugh. It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
So I would say Elf is on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We put on Rudolph, the old one, like the one you and I grew up watching on NBC.
He sounds like he has a stuffy nose all the time. Yeah.
I could not believe how much my kids like it. Because you know how kids today, they can tell if something's old-fashioned or made with horrible animation?
Yeah, with Cornelius. Yeah,
my kids loved it. And we have Polar Express on a lot as well. Which
that's the music.
I don't like Polar Express at all.
Whoa.
I don't like the storyline. I don't like the animations. I only like the train.
Okay.
Do you like
the animation's a bit odd. What is this? Robert Zemeckis, I believe, doing Polar Express. I just love the music and the vibe of Polar Express.
And Tom Hanks is amazing. Hearing his voice.
100%. You know what's a big one in the Palmer household lately?
Ooh, what?
Have you seen Spirited on Apple TV?
No.
It's a musical. It's a musical based off of A Christmas Carol with Ebenezer Scrooge, with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. And they both sing and dance throughout the entire movie. And it's tremendous.
Okay. I am going to watch that. Have you seen The Star on Netflix?
No, I have not.
Fantastic cartoons. Basically, the center purpose of it is the actual day of, the birth of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not even about that. It's this donkey that wants to basically be a brave donkey and be part of that whole thing, but it's not religious at all. It's like funny and cute. And Mariah Carey has a song in there that isn't All I Want for Christmas. It's a different Christmas song that she has, and it's good. God,
she gets $3 to $5 million a year due to that song. I have to watch It's a Wonderful Life while I'm wrapping presents on Christmas Eve evening. That's my mom's favorite movie. That's on in the background. I'm going to take that tradition, I think. Mm-hmm. I love that. I cry. It's wonderful. I feel close to my parents, even though they're not there. It's a good feel for me. Before we go, and I will be watching these movies now, so thank you for the suggestion. Yeah. Quick thought for you on what your reaction is. Do you think it's okay if you go to a workout class and the music choice they make is Christmas music right now? No, I'm pretty particular on my workout music. Like, if it doesn't get me moving, what am I doing here? Like, why am I in the class? Why do you even have music? You might as well put on a podcast if the music isn't making me go. Like, I didn't want to say anything, but I was sitting there doing my weightlifting. What are they, like Michael Bublé you while you're in there? What? It was Michael Bublé. And I'm like, boobs was playing? I don't really feel like grinding and burning right now. Like this, I kind of want to cuddle with a blanket and drink give some hot cocoa. Yeah, with a chocolate straw. Yeah, I'm not really focused on the abs here, guys. No, yeah, that's weak. I know. I wouldn't. I don't support that. I will say my last tradition that I do is when I'm putting the lights up on the house, I have National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation playing on my phone in my pocket, and I'm just listening to it. I love that. While I'm putting the lights up. Okay, Monday show, right? Because it'll be a few days before Christmas. Let's make our last block about the Christmas music songs that you don't want to hear. Because I've got a long list. Whoa, we'll save some time. I love it. The best. I'll see you on Monday. And enjoy your massive slate of games, Dianna.
Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.